Hey YouTube, Ben here. Today I'm going to be taking you on a tour of my new sim rig. We've got a lot to cover today, from base shakers to pedal reactors. I have a new frame. I've set up multiple screens, one with a useful dual-purpose mount. I have a custom surround sound setup and more. Until a couple months ago, for years I'd been sim racing with my Logitech G9 mounted to my desk. Well, racing might be a bit generous. Until a couple of months ago, for years I'd been casually sim driving with my Logitech G9 mounted to my desk, and I decided I wanted to get something a bit more sturdy to mount my wheel and pedals to. But then one thing led to another, and before I knew it, I'd gone down a sim racing rabbit hole and ended up with something pretty elaborate. Before we get started, I'll mention that I'm not affiliated with any of the stores or products featured in this video in any way. I'm just a regular person using my own money to have some fun with some cool gear. So let's get started. The foundation of this rig is the SimLab GT1 Evo frame and the Next Level Racing ERS3 seat. I picked up the SimLab frame at my local micro center, and I got the seat from Amazon. This seat has been really comfortable with just the right amount of padding. It's not the first seat I tried, but it's going to last me a while. While the rig frame itself is nothing particularly special, it's sturdy and it's solid, and it isn't too expensive. It provides a great foundation to build on. I particularly like the all-black 4080 and 4040 aluminum extrusion components that match standard parts that you can pick up at Amazon easily. So I can add to the rig endlessly, and everything fits seamlessly together. Really, I've added so many components to the rig since I bought it that it's hard to see where the core rig ends and where the customizations begin. This Samsung G9 OLED monitor is the star of the show. Since it's an OLED, the viewing angles and blacks are perfect, and the colors really pop. This is the G93SC, which is the model that doesn't have Samsung's Smart TV software built in, which from what I've read and watched, that's a good thing. This monitor's been on sale on and off lately for about $950, which I think is a great deal. If I'm going to spend that kind of money on a monitor, though, I want to be able to use it for more than just sim racing. I want to use the monitor for other games and office work too. So I mounted the monitor on this monitor arm that allows me to move the monitor back and forth between both setups. And while this super ultra-wide monitor isn't as immersive as a triple screen setup would be, it does a great job and it doesn't take as much space. And it allows for this kind of versatility. I built this monitor stand using 4040 aluminum extrusion parts from Amazon for the monitor to rest on when I'm using it on the rig. Because if I didn't, the weight of the monitor would cause the whole desk to topple over. My next major customization on the rig was building out this custom mount for my rear speakers. I picked up these Pyle speakers on Amazon, and while they may not be the best speakers in the world, they can handle plenty of power and they sound just fine with a subwoofer. I hid and routed these speaker cables with these dust protection strips that I got on Amazon too. I just picked up these basic hooks from Amazon for my headphones and VR headset to rest on. Moving towards the front, I mounted a matching pair of speakers to the front of the rig. The next part of the rig that I added are these Dayton Audio BST1 bass shakers and stereo amplifier with USB audio streaming to power them. I find these shakers to add a huge sense of immersion to the driving experience. Regarding the wheelbase itself, after a lot of time, research, and consideration, and with the help of a good sale at Micro Center, I finally replaced my Logitech G9 with a Logitech G Pro wheelbase. As you can see, I've mounted an old Android phone to my wheelbase and I run SimHub on that, so I can consistently get a good view of my key information. Moving further forward, I built out a custom monitor stand to mount a high monitor too. This was just an old monitor I had sitting around, so I might as well make good use of it. I'm still using the basic Logitech H-pattern shifter and the pedals that came with my G9 wheelbase. As you can see, I have the Simagic Haptic pedal reactors mounted to my throttle and brake. I find these to really add a feeling of immersion to the experience. I use the Logitech G Racing adapter to connect my pedals and my shifter to the computer. Going more into sound, I'm powering my speakers through a conventional 5.1 AV receiver. I can switch between powering the speakers on my rig and powering my speakers in my normal computing position using the AB front speaker switch on the receiver. And I'm able to switch between my rig surround speakers and my normal computer surround speakers with this speaker switch that I bought on Amazon. For bass, I use this 12-inch Polk subwoofer, but any decent subwoofer will get the job done. So I've taken you through all the various components of this rig, but now onto the important part. What's it like to actually drive? And that may be a little bit more difficult to describe. You kind of have to experience it to know. But the short version is it's awesome. All the different components and parts that move and shake, and the noises and sounds, the surround sound coming from behind you. Adding to that is the feeling that you get from these Dayton bass shakers under my seat. They're on the left and right sides. So I can feel when I roll over curbs and things on the left and the right, and I can feel the vibration from the engine. Then I have these Simagic pedal reactors, and those probably make you a bit faster in the sense that I can feel when my ABS is kicking in, feel when I'm losing traction. But more importantly, they're just one more piece of the equation that adds to an overall immersive experience. The screen, of course, is a big part of that feeling of immersion. This Samsung Odyssey G9 OLED has amazing colors, and when it's this close, it completely fills my field of view. Now, I might not be able to look left and right like I would be able to with a set of triples, but when I really want that feeling of immersion, then I go ahead and use the VR headset. And really, triples can't touch the VR for immersion. That said, probably about 90% of the time I actually race with the screen instead of VR, because it's so much easier to just hop in, race lap after lap, have a drink, start the race, stop the race, access stuff on your desk, and so on. However, the VR is very, very cool. So when you really want to get into it, it's worth putting that on and really getting immersed in the game. This Logitech G Pro wheel gives strong and really immersive force feedback. If you've only driven, say, an entry-level wheel like a Logitech G29, something belt-driven, those are great, but the experience that you get from something with more force feedback and something that's faster and more direct, it's just really hard to describe. So people say, well, maybe you don't need the direct drive wheel until you're a lot better, and then that'll help make you a little bit better yet. And really, to me, direct drive wheel like this is really about the experience. You really have to pull to get the car around the corner, and it gives you just a much better feeling that you're driving in an actual car. Of course, one of the most important elements is the cockpit itself. Having something decent to mount my pedals and wheel to was my initial incentive to get this whole setup. It was really frustrating when I was driving and my pedals were sliding all over the place and it was taking up room on my desk and so on. So that was the initial idea with this. But once you get into sim racing and realize all the things you can do to your rig, there's really no limits. I think for now my rig is pretty close to complete, except the pedals that I have are pretty basic. So I have a set of Simpson Pro X pedals, and they're going to be delivered in about a week. So I'll probably do a review of those because I haven't seen any reviews of those yet. I'm really looking forward to giving those a try. So that pretty much wraps it up for me. If you have any questions about the rig or any of the components that I talked about, please leave those in the comments. Also, if you want me to do a deeper dive video on any of those components, let me know that in the comments too. If you liked the rig or you liked the video, or even if you didn't, please like and subscribe and help me get this channel off the ground. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.